Probably have a dream to escape your 9-to-5 job. You want to be your own boss, work from anywhere in the world, and make a shitload of money. Well, that's probably the reason that you clicked on this video. People might call it escaping the matrix, escaping the rat race. But why do we all have this strong desire to escape the rat race? Why do we have this strong desire to become a full-time trader? Because if I gotta be honest with you, becoming a full-time trader isn't always sunshine and rainbows. But then again, working a 9-to-5 job might not be sunshine and rainbows for everyone. For example, you might have no freedom or flexibility in your job. Some people might have the feeling of being stuck in a cage, not having that freedom. You know what's even worse than feeling stuck in a cage? Commuting every day and being stuck in traffic towards your cage. Maybe the biggest reason of them all is that you feel like you're wasting precious time that you could spend with your family, your friends, your children, or maybe doing stuff that you really like, your real passion, your real why. Well, before you close your laptop and quit your 9-to-5, stay with me for 1 second. Because I'm about to explain to you exactly which steps I took and which process I went through in order to become a full-time trader. I'll explain to you how I transitioned into trading full-time, what I learned, and what you should look out for when you want to make the same step as I. You don't want to make the same mistakes as me, and you want to be prepared in a better way because I wasn't prepared at all. Talking about preparations, there are some requirements that you really need to check off before you can trade full-time. So if you are planning to trade full-time, let me give you some requirements that you could look for, requirements that you could plan for, and things that you could achieve before you consider trading full-time. The first thing you definitely need, and everybody will tell you this, is a financial buffer. Because if there's one thing you're gonna take away from this video, you gotta know that trading does not provide a consistent payout. Well, you can have this feeling of consistency, but you never know when your next payout is coming because you cannot control the markets. So making sure that you have a financial buffer that can cover your living expenses for the coming 6 months and preferably the next year, I think is a good starting point to make some calculations. So look how many costs you have. Do you rent? Do you pay food? Do you have children? What are your living costs for the next year? And that's already a good starting point for your financial buffer calculation. So a good thing to do right now or after this video is to create a plan. Well, what are my costs actually? Do you know your costs? And what would my cost be for a year? For example, maybe it's 15K or 20K, I don't know. And then it's a good idea to have that buffer and maybe even have it a couple of times. For me, if you only have a buffer of 10K, it's gonna be a difficult year. And let's say you take 1 year of trading, let's say you have 3 months, 4 months maybe, that you don't get a payout, then your financial buffer is there to get you some extra support. So it's always better to be prepared so you don't have to carry a financial burden with you. Because you never know that there are some extra financial costs coming to you. Your car broke down, your children need something, you have a company with extra costs suddenly happening. Or maybe there is a global crisis happening. Does that ring any bells for you? So always expect the unexpected. There can be some crucial things happening, news events, there can be some heavy impact. So there should be no financial burden on your shoulders when these things happen. And I think most of you are going to be or want to be prop firm traders. Be aware that these prop firms can go down at any time. I've been there so many times. And as a full-time trader, there is nothing worse than seeing your 200K account or 400K account happen to me as well, to see it just disappear. And you know that you have to get a new challenge. Probably you won't make any money the next month or maybe 2 months because you don't want to rush getting these challenges and funded accounts again. What I'm trying to say is be prepared for the worst scenario if you're trading full-time, because there's no fixed flow of income. Whenever you start trading full-time, the next requirement makes sense. You need to have a proven, data-backed, consistent track record. If you don't have a system that is data-backed and that can actually provide you with consistent results and that has proven itself to do so in the past, then you are just simply not ready to trade full-time because you're still looking to find that consistency, to find that flow in the markets. And if you don't have it yet, I made that mistake way too early, so please take it from me. If you're still learning, it's always better to wait a bit longer to go full-time, but I'll explain a bit about it later. Pay attention though, because although you have a strong track record and you were combining it with your job and you actually were successful in executing that plan consistently, there are some things that change with you when you start to trade full time. there's a lot more stress to it, because now, this being your only income, you have to be sure that you're executing constantly. But now there's a bigger stress because the fixed income from your job is not there anymore. And there's many other factors. For example, you have a lot more time, so you gotta sit behind a screen. You might have some more fears, you might have some more stress, whatever. Even though you have a successful, consistent track record, things can change. And I felt that when I started trading full-time, something changed in me. Suddenly there was pressure, more stress. You start making these little mistakes and your track record is not going to be perfect anymore. Well, it's never perfect, but it's not going to give you anymore the same consistent result that you had when you had your safety, your job. Even more important, when you have this track record and you know how to execute it consistently and it's working for you and you're getting a nice cash flow from trading, it's still not a bad idea to have an extra source of income or multiple sources of income, and preferably even passive, because you don't want to rely on your trading to be your only source of income. And that's one of the reasons that I started coaching. It was a nice extra. I really love trading. I love helping people. So why not just add it as a confluence into my source of income? It was a nice thing to do. I still like it. Things I had to learn in that journey as well. It helped me in my trading journey, because if I had a bad month, if I had 2 bad months, it happened to me. And then I had, okay, a student or you sell a course or whatever. It's not that much, but these little things can help. If you have your fixed costs every month, your food, your living expenses, it really helps out. Does that mean that everyone has to become a coach or sell a Discord or whatever? No, but I know a lot of people who have a company, for example, and they have that company, or they do drop shipping, or they have YouTube automatization, or they do affiliate marketing or whatever. They have something else digital that they can do next to their trading, which actually helps them. If you have a lot more capital, then potentially you can have some investments or some staking in crypto or property, for example. And maybe these things are giving you a passive income flow. So it's a lot of things to consider, and they're gonna help you with the burden of carrying that constant pressure of wanting results in the market. If you don't have any extra income sources, well, then maybe you should make your financial buffer a bit bigger. Maybe if you have, like, let's say 10K of costs every year, let's say 20K, then maybe you want to say, well, I want to have a financial buffer so I can not make any money for 3 years and still be fine. And maybe your buffer should be 50K. 50K should be enough. So maybe it should be 40 or 50K, and then you have a sense of relief, and maybe you can build some extra income. And also, with all that time extra of you quitting your job, it's not a bad idea to have something extra to do, because you don't want to be locked behind the screen 24/7, sitting impatiently waiting for, oh, this trade, oh, it's running, and oh, I have to look at the trade and I have to manage it. No, because you'll make mistakes, you'll be impatient, and the trades won't work that well. A good solution is to look for some new hobbies or some sports you want to do, or just try some new things. Do some things that you really like that you never had time for. Buy a dog, or maybe you really want a children but you never had time for it. That's a bigger life decision, of course, but you know what I mean. If you wanted to go on daily walks, do so. If you wanted to try meditation, and for me it was self-development. I wanted to try some stuff. I tried yoga, I didn't really like it. I did some Muay Thai and I really liked it, and now I'm going every week. I'm playing squash, but I already did that, and it's nice to have some extra things to get your mind off trading and not become this trading bot that's sitting behind the screen. Don't get me wrong, I love trading and I love sitting behind my screen, and I love doing calls and making videos. One of the extra things I started doing. It's quite fun to see how you, the people, are liking my videos, subscribing, giving some feedback. It's fun for me to do, so I love doing it. So why not do this? And I'm in a position right now I don't have to be checking the charts all the time. So you're ready to become a full-time trader. Congrats, you checked all the boxes. You have a consistent, proven track record that is data backed. You have a financial buffer that is strong enough to go trade full-time. So what's next? The first thing that nobody tells you that is so important, ask the question, do I really need to quit my job? Do you really need to? Because if you can keep your job for a bit longer, it's always going to be the best decision. Remember, you started trading whilst combining it with a job, and there was no problem. So if there still is no problem and you love your job, just don't quit your job. If you can combine it with your current job that you like. If you don't have any issues with your current job, why would you throw away your job? If you like your job, it's not an issue in time management for your trades and you can still check the charts. Why would you quit your job? Only when your job is really in the way, and it could be a couple of things. Well, you don't have enough time because of your job to trade. Well, then you need to make a shift. Maybe you hate your job. You have a shitty boss, but I think everyone who I talk to has a shitty boss. But these are the things that you should consider. In my example, I had neither of them. I didn't have enough time to trade, so it was really tough combining it, having to run to the toilet. I was working in catering, so run to the toilets, check my trades on a cube of 1 square meter. Of course, that's not ideal. You know what I mean? I had a boss who was very strict, so I couldn't be on my phone. I worked in a Michelin restaurant, so I couldn't be on my phone. I had to be working all the time, working from the morning till the evening. Of course, I had some days off, but the first step for me wasn't quitting my job. It was going to work part-time. So this could be a point that we can talk about. What is the best solution for you? Ask yourself this question. If there's a lot of negatives, don't just quit it, but start to work part-time and find some extra time. A good and general rule of thumb could be only if your job is truly getting in the way, that is when you should quit your job. Makes sense, right? Now I can hear some people think, well, if you have the results, you have a prop firm account, isn't it best to just burn the bridge behind you and just go for it? It could work for some people, and let me tell you, I did. I burned the bridge too quickly. It's the scariest thing that you can do. Just quit and decide, well, now I'm gonna quit. I'm just gonna trade full time, especially when you don't have all the boxes checked. That was a big mistake that I made. Of course, I had the financial buffer, but to my experience now, I believe my track record wasn't strong enough to trade full time, because the year afterwards, maybe also because I quit my job too early, I had some very inconsistent results, some very high peaks to the upside, peaks to the downside, peaks to the upside, and also doing a zigzag pattern all the way through. And it brought me a lot of stress. I wasn't calm. I was constantly chasing. I was eating from my buffer, then I was eating from a payout, then I was eating from a buffer. So of course, I'm suggesting to you to check the boxes first, because you never know. Whenever you finally decide to tell your boss, like, hey boss, I'm quitting, the roller coaster just starts at that point. So be aware of that and be warned that when you do so, it's gonna be a roller coaster. Maybe not for you, but I'm talking about my experience in going full time. The second thing that nobody talks about is you have to become self-employed. You have to arrange everything. You need to study on it. Maybe you need an accountant. There's a lot of things that you need to get in order when you start to trade full time. There's some extra costs. Well, in Belgium, we pay social security. You have your taxes that you have to pay. Of course, all that happens as well when you work a job, but you don't really notice it. Now you really notice it. And in my case, I wanted to have an accountant, so you're also paying for an accountant. So these are things that you should be aware of. And you should be aware of the regulation, how the tax structure in your country you're living, how is it set up? What is the tax structure? What are the things that I need to do in order to go full time? And first learn about it, inform yourself, and then make a decision whether it's good to do so. Next, I'm going to talk about something that was very important to me personally. Now, the next one is quite important because I really felt that it was a huge one when I just started full time. I didn't have a routine. I quit my job and I was like, wow, just like a kid, this is vacation. I can sleep to whatever time I want to. I can eat whatever I want. I can do everything I want all day and I don't have to worry about anything. Well, that's the worst thing you can do, because I didn't have a strong routine to guide me. I was just freeballing it. I wasn't chasing goals. I wasn't improving myself. I was just living life and letting life live. And that's not a great feeling to be, because you will not have any confidence in yourself. You don't have the feeling of accomplishment. I felt like I wasn't being productive. I felt like a nobody who just quit his job. So the first thing I had to do is get a routine. Get a power list. Get a list with tasks that you have to do. It's from Andy Frisella. Get a list of tasks that you will do every day that will make you feel productive. Do a workout, do a meditation, do a backtesting session. Whatever this is, get productive and get a routine. Because without a routine, your life is gonna feel pretty lazy. I don't want to feel lazy. I want to feel productive and I want to achieve some stuff. That was one of the important things. Make it trading related. Get a strong routine and stick to it in order to get more fulfilled in the process. Sense of belonging, feeling productive. And that's a big one to me. Once I started doing that, I was actually feeling like, okay, I can keep doing this. And it's the best way in doing so in my experience, because whenever I have these periods, I don't want to do anything. It's because I'm not following my routine. It's because I'm still in my bed. I didn't get up and check the markets in the morning. Of course, I'm gonna feel shit because I knew I was lying to myself. I broke a promise to myself. And of course, I'm not gonna have any self-esteem and I'm not gonna feel productive. Great thing to do is get a routine as fast as possible once you start trading full time. You don't want to become this trader whose full identity is being a trader. If you go to a party, well, with your job, yeah, man, I'm a trader. That's the only thing I talk about. You don't want to become that person because your life is going to be so consumed by trading and everything in the financial markets, and it's not going to be fun anymore. Eventually, you'll have to learn how to let go. It's important to find some stuff that you really like. And for me, it was Muay Thai, self-development, and this could be actually a last point that I want to talk about. You can see it with anyone who goes full-time, is keep investing in yourself. The moment you stop investing in yourself, you'll just be standing still, and standing still is going backwards. To me, there's an extra benefit to it, because if you trade full-time, your ego can get a push. What happens is that you say, well, I'm a full-time trader now, look at me, king in the castle. But it's not a good thing for your ego. So you need to humble yourself. And to me, I found this little trick. And that's why I always keep buying courses and mentorships and work with coaches and whatever, because it puts me in a state of growth, puts me in a state of being a student of the market again. And isn't that the state that we want to be in? Constantly learning from the markets and not having any ego, of course. And that's the reason I've bought a lot of courses. I think I spent 50, 60 or more into studying courses, whatever. And sometimes I bought a course and I learned totally nothing, or I refreshed some stuff, but at least I'm trying to grow. Not every course is going to be the best one, but it didn't matter to me. I just want to be the student. And how is this trader trading? How is that trader trading? Can I learn something from this? And actually, most of the times, I learned something from them. So should you do what I did and just cold turkey quit your job? No, definitely not. It's a great thing to do if you have a buffer, but if one of the checklists is missing, it's not gonna be a nice journey. It's gonna be a roller coaster, and you don't want it to be a roller coaster going from highs to lows to highs to lows. No, you want it to be a consistent flow of actions and things that you can do. So quite important things that you should take away from this video. Get a financial buffer. Make sure your track record is consistent, data backed, and you have proven it to yourself that you can execute it constantly. Whenever you decide to go full-time, decide that you want to quit your job fully or maybe go into a transition phase. For me, it was a very small transition phase, and it didn't really help me at all, because this transition phase is important to go at it step by step. I just did it cold turkey and it was a hell of a ride. But in the end, how do I feel about it? I'm quite happy I did it. And actually, the first things I said to myself, shit, I should have done this early. Again, I want to say don't do it too early, but it's a great feeling to know once you've done it, I could have done it earlier. It's a great feeling to have, but you don't want to have this feeling, shit, I did it too early. And worst case, go back and have to work a job again. That's the worst feeling ever. So everything that I explained to you is to make sure you don't get this feeling and don't have to go back to a job. Of course, it can always happen and there's nothing wrong with it. But if you do it too early, it's not a great idea. Always better to say in the end, well, I wish I did it earlier. And remember, at the end of your life, you're always going to regret the things that you didn't do. You'll never regret anything that you did, most likely, but your only regrets will be the things you never did. When you're lying in your bed, dying at the end of your life, you're probably gonna say to yourself, damn, I wish I tried this trading thing. I wish I took the step back then. I had all the tools, why did I do it? You probably won't have the regret, well, I regret that I had a job. Probably had some great stuff there as well. So I hope that you enjoyed watching it. If you want to see more of this content, please let me know. Subscribe, of course, appreciate it a lot. Like the video, and I'll see you in the next video.